cause a tummy problem.
I've had 2 granola bars, and it's ruined now for the rest of the day. Ho, good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, BBs. It's too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
And we're still in a half-completed studio.
You know, I had all of these ideas,
Hey,
Anthony.
Baby, don't we all?
I had all of these ideas that we would wait to move over here until the set was perfect.
Sure. The unfortunate thing is about that is, unfortunately, one computer run all PixelCircus. One computer run all PixelCircus and also Saige's life. Yes,
which will change soon. But at the moment, and also for the sake of like getting everything tested here, it couldn't really be one move.
This is permanent.
That is staying.
This sheet of paper that is supposed to distract you from the plug that ends right here. Yeah, that's staying, and we love it.
And the lighting's not changing.
No, the lighting I think is dialed in.
Yeah.
The lighting I think is absolutely dialed in.
That's correct. Can we turn Saige up? Is that just me having trouble hearing? I'm gonna check in with the mods in the mod chat.
Oh no, you're a little low. I can see on the meters. Let's see.
Can you bump me a little bit?
Yeah, we can bump you a little bit.
A lot of bit. The board definitely got knocked around, so that makes sense. I'm 1.
Okay. Try now.
How about now? We're just gonna do it live. Yeah, I also fucked with the knobby thing there.
Oh, don't fuck with the knob.
Look, the knobs are different.
Well, those are headphones, so that's okay.
Oh, that explains a lot. I was doing some recording the other day, and that explains something.
Yeah, do a talkie.
Hello.
Oh, you're talking now, baby.
Oh, now that is talking.
Oh, hell yeah. What are we talking into electronics for a living?
And hey, if
damn,
we're really lucky, our NDI sources will even work.
Hey, and what does that even mean? Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Over the weekend, obviously, a lot happened. We were gone on Friday, and we were gone yesterday. We were gone on Friday because, of course, the giant PixelCircus Jamboree, which was the official name of it.
Yes. Our 13-hour marathon stream to unveil the new studio. Mostly, hey, we got to stress test the internet. We got to hang out for 13
This was
hours
a stretch goal.
Yep.
This was a stretch goal. This paper over the cable. If it wasn't for your generosity, we would not have put this paper over the cable.
You did this.
You did this.
But what you did get to do was name some pieces of equipment, get added to a list of names that's going to be up in our little green room that we're going to look at every single day, and make it possible to get some much-needed equipment upgrades that, as you can tell, have not arrived yet.
What are you talking about? We have the paper over the cable. And then yesterday we were gone because I was kissing Paul Rudd on the lips.
That's why.
I was at the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania premiere, and it was very fun. And if you didn't watch it, you can watch it on Marvel's YouTube. And I saw the movie, and the movie is very good. And
what is it, Anthony?
Kang is the best smelling man in the world.
Yeah?
He is. Jonathan smells so good. He smells better than any person. Jonathan Majors is the best smelling person on earth. This is a weird thing for me to keep saying, but I cannot express to you how good Jonathan Majors smells. I've never in my life encountered anybody who smells half as good as Jonathan Majors.
Ask what it is?
No, I was
entranced.
I was entranced by his beauty and his scent.
That's very fair. Also, look, there is a level of closeness you got to have to talk about how someone smells.
Right, and I am not there with Jonathan Majors, but I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because everybody needs to know.
And I'm sure part of it is a gendered thing, but when a strange man comes up to me and tells me they smell good, I'm like, this is predatory behavior, like in an animal way.
Yeah.
I am prey, and I am terrified. Please stop smelling me.
I followed your musk.
You put that sniffer away. Absolutely not.
Jonathan Majors has nothing to fear from me for 100,000 reasons. But it's very good. You know, I think if we can be honest, I think with Quantum Mania, there was a little bit of worry that like when you look at the trailer for it, you're like, oh, this could be the most visually confusing movie ever made. Mm-hmm. And it is not.
Hey.
And it is not. It is a fun movie. It is it's got the feels in it. It's got the fun in it. It's got action in it. It's got Jonathan Majors. He smells very good. You should go see it. You won't be able to smell Jonathan Majors.
No, Ant-Man Quantumania is in smell-o-vision.
Listen, there's that theater that I like to go to that does all the fancy tricks.
Does it do smell-o-vision?
And it does not do smell-o-vision. But the versions of the fancy theaters that I go to in Japan do smell-o-vision.
Really? Is that a thing?
That's a thing. That's a thing. They have additional things in Japan. So I go to these 4DX theaters where it's like the seats move and
roller coaster.
They spray water and the lights flicker and all this stuff happens. In Japan, they also have bubble machines, laser lights, and smells.
That sounds amazing.
So if you can, go see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania in a Japanese theater.
Right.
That's the best way to see it.
You know, if you have the option. Anthony, do you remember when Scratch and Sniff was big for movies?
Oh. No, but I do remember. No, but I do remember a Scratch and Sniff, like the idea of Scratch and Sniff.
In like the early aughts.
Was there?
There was a moment where, like, especially for kids' movies, and maybe it just missed you because it was kids' movies when I was like,
right.
You would have been in like school.
I would have been 35.
You would have been 35 when I was 7.
Yeah.
So, the one that I associate the most with is the Rugrats movie.
Oh, yeah, no, that wouldn't have been one that I caught in theaters.
You guys remember the Rugrats movie had Scratch and Sniff, and most of them were fucking gross? I felt so betrayed. I thought it was so fucked up. Now, people are saying Spy Kids. That makes sense. It's all around that same time.
The Spy Kids movies were very gimmicky in fun ways.
Right. Look, as a child with sensory processing disorder that no one told had sensory processing disorders, I was easily betrayed by textures, smells, tastes, experiences. Mm-hmm. So being handed a Scratch and Sniff and then it just being like, scratch number 3 right now. And then it's like, it's feet.
No.
I'm still emotionally hurt by.
Right. Whereas most kids are like, gross, that's funny. You're like, no, I did not consent to smell this.
Yeah. And like, maybe this is a bit of the tism here, but, a doctor once drew a smiley face on my arm in pen, 2 eyes and a mouth, and said, "What is it missing?" And then I said the nose, and then he stabbed me.
That's
with a needle. It was
that's wild.
And it was like, ta-da, and like gave me a shot, which like I was not a kid who was like super nervous with needles, so like you didn't have to sneak up.
No, you
like
made
that.
it bad.
And he made it bad.
You made it bad because you turned it into a haha, fuck you, gotcha.
Right.
And then not only that, somebody drew on you and it's there for the rest of the day.
I was so upset.
I don't want a smiley face on my arm, asshole.
I hated that man. And
I am a child who gets bullied. Don't draw a smiley face on my arm.
My mother could not understand why I was so personally offended by this, why I was hurt emotionally by that. Thank you, everybody.
That's fucking rude as hell.
My mother was like, no, look, he was just trying to help you not be scared. And I was like, no, I was betrayed.
No, this was a betrayal, mother.
Anyways, that dude's license got revoked, and he ended up being covered on John Oliver for not giving children the vaccines they needed. But I know I got mine because of that.
Well, or some good sugar water.
I remember hearing his voice on John Oliver and being like, that sounds a lot like my pediatrician.
Whoops.
And calling my mother and being like, what was my pediatrician's name?
It was Scammerton.
License revoked.
Hey everybody. Anyway, big gaming news today.
The biggest of the big.
The biggest of the big. First of all, we want to talk about. We're going to talk about that. Okay, here we go. First of all, we're going to talk about Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor.
Oh, good. It's working.
Let's see if it works for me. Maybe it works for me. Maybe it works for me.
Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order. They released 9 minutes of gameplay from Jedi Fallen Order.
Ooh. All right, Anthony, what did you think of the 9 minutes?
I think I was working on the Marvel set.
You didn't watch the 9 minutes?
I didn't see the 9 minutes.
Oh, it's good. I will say, like, it's very comparable. It is recognizably the next step in this game.
Yeah.
But, my favorite part, the best part, is fast travel. I cannot tell you how many times I have complained on the internet as somebody who absolutely loved the previous game, but found the maps so difficult to navigate.
First of all, that mini map
useless.
In Fallen Order was a lie. That mini map was a lie 9 times out of 10.
It didn't make any sense.
It did not track with their level. And listen, this was because the first one, we know that they had bigger plans to make it more of a Metroidvania-like, to make it more of a Zelda-like, to make that backtracking make sense and make that backtracking worthwhile. But unfortunately, they just didn't have the time to do it.
Right.
And so what happened with the compromise is it was not a Metroidvania and there was no fast travel because they originally wanted it to be a Metroidvania.
Right.
So now it's like, look, it's not a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
We didn't make it a Metroidvania. We're sorry. Here's fast travel. And there might be more Metroidvania elements in this one.
And like, I'm not mad. They made a good ass game.
No, it was great.
Fallen Order is one of my favorite games.
It's amazing, but that mini map was problems. I think they really focused on making that mini map very cool looking in 3D and less useful as a map.
I agree. Blade of Creation said the holographic topographic map looked cool as hell. It was also completely fucking useless.
Exactly.
And, like, because of the traversal things of like, ooh, this isn't unlocked yet, but if you come back to this planet, it could be unlocked. There are so many areas that you're like, I just need to get to point A and point B, and there's so many complicated things in between that you cannot access.
There was no reason.
Incredibly difficult to tell what was on what floor.
9 times out of 10, like you remember all the like the ice slidey bits on Ice Slidey Planet. Yeah. I was just like, we don't need this. We don't need this. I just need to be there. I just need to be there.
I enjoyed ice sliding.
Ice sliding was enjoyable.
It was fun.
It was enjoyable a little bit, but then it was like, do I really have to keep ice sliding every time I'm coming back here? There's no, because that's the other thing is like in a Metroidvania or in a Souls-like, you would open up a shortcut. So it's like, hey man, if you don't want to do the ice slidey again, because you already did it, there's a little thing. Right. Yeah. But they didn't have that. And I mean, what I want out of this game, this sequel is more stuff like the Star Destroyer dungeon, optional things that make sense that you can get to, not easily, but like they're there. And if you want to get to them and go inside, it's like, ooh, am I ready for this yet? Am I not ready for this yet? Just one of those on every planet, really, like one optional kind of dungeon would make that game 100 times more fun.
Debonacho said the slidey bit brought back Mario 64 memories, and I think that might be why I liked it so much.
Yeah. That music, nowhere to be found at Super Nintendo World.
At Super Nintendo World.
Nowhere to be found. There's even like a game where you a Goomba's running and you're trying to make him.
That should have been.
But they didn't use that music.
Nope.
That's
had a lot of good music.
Oh, great music.
Not that one.
Listen, it's Koji Kondo all the way down. But yeah, so I'm very excited. It's coming like, I mean, look, they talk in this article about how much we all love the fast travel. And how much we want to be able to just get to the ship so like quicker. And so that's very exciting. There was a mod that was
back after you're done when you finished it and you're just like, fuck, now I have to find my ship.
And there's nothing left to do. And here's the thing. And I think they understood all of this. I think it was a matter of time and budget. But once you've done everything there is to do on that planet and you're going back to your ship, whatever new power or thing that I picked up on the way back to my ship, it should be just like one straight shot where my new power is just decimating that planet.
Yes. Well,
you know what I mean? Like decimating all of the bad guys on the planet. Like I'm just running through and just like everything that was difficult to me is easy now.
Right. Or I was able to open up a pathway at the end I wouldn't have been able to open, and it was a straight shot through.
There was the one planet where you land your ship right by an Imperial hangar. And that planet did have like a back path back around quick to your ship. But it was not the easiest thing to see.
I might not have found that because I think I was about to complain about that exact map because I remember looking at the mini map and being like, I'm here. My ship is here. But I have to go all the way the fuck around to get to it. And it just absolutely driving me mad.
It was wild. Yeah, and I mean, those are the moments, particularly in a Zelda game or in a Metroid game, where like when you unlock that one little door where you're like, now I have the shortcut to everything. It feels so good to unlock that little door.
Yeah.
On the PC, there was a mod that was created that allowed people to teleport back to their ship. Unfortunately, because it was not official, you could teleport back to your ship at the wrong time and it would cause your game save to corrupt. Oh. And the author did warn people about that. And some people were like, I don't care. This is just useful. And so I'm going to use it.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I would risk my game save. Just think of the amount of time you'd have to spend walking back to your ship if you had to start over.
Hey, buddy. Hey, producer Dagger. What if we
keep it down?
What if we didn't tear apart the couch in the studio? Hey, there's nowhere to dig. It's a cushion. You cannot dig into a cushion.
So what was the big one you were going to say, Anthony?
Big one what?
Game.
Oh.
News.
Nintendo Direct.
Oh, it's interesting because it's gonna be big news, but it's gonna be big news after 2 p.m. today, hopefully.
I think this is going to be an extremely huge Nintendo Direct because I think we are heading in to the final year or year and a half of the Switch.
Yeah.
I think we are heading towards when a new Zelda drops. That's how you know it's time for new hardware. Mm-hmm. And I think it's coming. I don't think they're going to talk about it.
Okay.
But we're going to get big Zelda news today. Big Zelda news. And I don't think it's going to be a delay.
Okay. So it's a 40-minute direct. It's happening at 2 p.m. Pacific today. Now, predictions-wise, there's a lot of people saying, hey, we haven't seen shit about Pikmin 4.
That's true.
It's got to be in there. I know that's not like the biggest game for a lot of people, but that's a big deal for me, and it's something they announced and haven't followed up on.
No, Pikmin 4 is a huge deal.
I absolutely got to get more Tears of the Kingdom.
Yep.
We got to get some more Tears of the Kingdom news.
And we did get that the eShop leak, the Switch shop leak, which said that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be $70. If there's a price and it's been set on Nintendo's store, then that probably means the game is no longer delayed. So that's exciting. I mean, obviously, there's some other stuff that has been delayed or release dates have been changed around. Obviously, Advance Wars.
Reboot.
That was moved because of war, because of real, actual war.
Wild. Hollow Knight Silksong?
So, man, they need, every single time there's any Nintendo announcement, the cries of where's Hollow Knight get louder and louder and louder.
Yeah.
You're going to get to a point where people are going to say, you could say, hey, this is a Metroid Prime 4 Nintendo Direct, and we're going to show you 40 minutes of Metroid Prime 4, and people be like,
Where's Silksong?
Where's that bug?
I want Silksong!
The bug has a sword. I don't know who Metroid is.
Where's Nintendogs? Thank you.
Thank you.
Wasn't there a leak or something implying that might be actually happening soon?
I think there was somebody had predicted that DS games were going to come to, I think, Switch Online, and that Nintendogs would be one of the first.
I fucking lose my mind for Nintendogs on Switch, but I do want a new one. I don't want just the port. I'll take the port, but so much of that is built around the Nintendo DS and the dual screen action, where it's okay, are you going to use your Switch then a touch screen and the TV as a?
I think for DS games on the Switch, you're going to turn in handheld mode. You will turn your Switch vertically.
No, really?
I think you'll turn your Switch.
Don't.
I think you will turn your Switch vertically, and you'll be able to actually touch it because it's touchscreen, and you'll have all the buttons you need because the Nintendo DS had not enough buttons.
Here's what I think will be the ideal way to play it, and I hope it is optimized for. And I know it doesn't have that right now. Okay, here would be my dream. The TV is your top screen.
Mm-hmm.
Your handheld Switch is your touch screen.
I think that would work too.
This way.
In
But right now,
yeah.
when you plug in your Switch, all of the display goes to your television, so it doesn't have a dual mode.
Yeah, I don't know if it's able to do it,
Damn,
but
would that be cool? Maybe that's the next console.
Maybe. Some other things.
Did it?
Some other things that were.
It's a Wii U.
That's the.
What I'm describing as a Wii U.
What you're describing is the Wii U, and that's literally the only thing it did.
Big and heavy.
Some other things that people are talking about. There's been rumors of an F-Zero remaster of some kind. Who knows? Maybe it'll be like. I bet it's F-Zero for the N64, and I bet it is a remaster the same way the GoldenEye was a remaster.
Yeah. Which isn't.
It is, but it isn't, but it is. I watched that.
My microphone, it keeps drooping.
I watched that in what is the name of it? You know the people. Digital Foundry. I watched the Digital Foundry comparison of all the GoldenEyes, and I can't believe how goofy ass mistakes they made with all of the GoldenEyes. It's ridiculous. Some other things that people are talking about getting was some Kirby stuff. Obviously, we're going to get a little bit of the Kirby's.
What Kirby stuff?
You know, that remaster of the Kirby. That good new Kirby.
Which Kirby?
I don't know. It's the Kirby. I don't know. It's what is it called? It's Return to Dreamland. It's the remaster of Return to Dreamland. I don't know. They're all Kirbs. Except for the last Kirb, the Forgotten Kingdom, which is the good Kirb.
Which is a Zelda.
Which is the good Kirb. Let's see. Some other stuff says that Fanbyte says that Nintendo was creating a sequel to 1-2 Switch.
Oh?
That excellent launch title that we all remember for its gameplay that we all played 100,000 times. While you're up, do you want to bump up your slider just a tiny bit more?
I do. Hey, can I get you anything else, Wilma?
Yeah, you want to? Do we have any of those? Do we have any of those chocolate granola bars? No or yes?
No. I don't think so.
No or yes? I don't know. Yeah, the sequel is called 789 Switch. And it's going to be very good. You're going to milk so many cows. That game was ridiculous. Do you remember that they wanted us to pay full price for that game? They didn't even give you that game with the Switch. You bought a Switch and you got home with it. And they said, here's a game where we literally teach you what the controller does. Would you like to pay $60 for it? You can pretend to shave your face. Garbage. But apparently the sequel is called Everybody's 1-2 Switch. And apparently
Everybody 1-2 Switch.
Everybody's 1-2 Switch. The report claimed that this weird follow-up would include wonders like a game show theme, games big enough to hold 100 players online, smartphone-based lobbies, more movement-based games like musical chairs, and a weird mascot known as Horse. It apparently tested horribly. Focus groups hated Everybody's 1-2 Switch.
And yet, we're back?
Now.
Rumored to be back?
Flying Queso brings back Horse to Meet You. I fucking love Horse to Meet You. I do indeed. What are you doing? You're just walking around off camera and tripping over things. I don't even...
Step down there, I almost died.
We have a tiny little, it's barely even a step, but it's just, it's one of these.
I almost died.
One of these little guys. And if you don't know it's coming, danger. I have Horse to Meet You on a shirt too. It's good. It's just a horse. And it says Horse to Meet You.
That is very good.
It makes me laugh so much.
Where do Saige be tripping? Right there. But I'm back. I needed a jacket. I'm very cold. It's really... I got a warning on my car this morning in Los Angeles, California. That said, maybe ice on the roads. There wasn't. It's Los Angeles. But my car said, bitch, it's cold. Be careful.
And by cold, we mean 50 degrees. You can't even get ice at 50 degrees.
My car, when I turned it on, said it was 37, Anthony.
Your car was lying to you.
It was, but it was so cold that it thought it was 37 degrees.
Yeah, that's an LA car.
Yeah.
LA car is like, probably ice, right?
I agree.
LA car was like, probably like a lot of ice.
Me and my little roller skate felt the same way. I was like, I agree.
Probably freeze.
Careful, we're going to freeze.
Yeah. And then Flying Queso does, of course, point out that you also cannot get ice at 37 degrees.
Yeah. And yet.
And yet.
And yet.
And yet, we're snowed into this studio. So
This is why we're having snack time.
So explain that. Hey.
You know what? I'm just going to say it really quick.
Say it.
My DMs are a nightmare.
Oh,
because of
God.
Turf Wizard
All
games,
right.
And it's fine,
Okay.
but we're going to talk about it for 2 seconds.
All right.
We're going to give it 2 seconds. Purely because I would like to remind anybody, maybe there's people watching for the first time who haven't heard what it is. Because the hundreds, and I genuinely mean hundreds of people in my DMs that are going, I don't understand, somebody explain it to me. I don't understand, somebody explain it to me. That are simply refusing to Google it.
Just sea lioning to hell.
Truly.
Just come on. You know.
That's
know. You're just knocking on Saige's door and being like, excuse me, can I interest you in an argument that you've already had?
And the answer is no. And I haven't argued with a single person. But
Can
I
I-
have blocked 30 plus. Because here's the thing. I posted something that said, if you're playing the racist, anti-Semitic Turf Wizard game, we're not friends. That's pretty straightforward. But also, I knew exactly what it was going to do. I knew it was going to show me everyone to block.
Now,
And that's great. I love it. Get out. I hate to have to do it, but also get the fuck out. You
but
schmucks.
also, can we cut to the gif of Brian David Gilbert pulling off his mustache and saying, we were never friends?
Right. Yeah.
Hey, if you follow somebody on the internet and they have a different opinion than you, don't worry, just move on. The reason why you can't move on is because you know what you're doing is bullshit.
And,
You know what you're doing is bullshit.
I sent screenshots of some of the unhinged behavior in my replies that are like, how dare you shame me? Harry Potter, for my mental health, I need this. It was really intense.
This is what you sound like.
We've been calling it all these people's comfort racism.
Yeah, look, I'm sorry about your comfort racism. Let me tell you about Ender's Game. I don't read Ender's Game anymore. Let me tell you about Woody Allen movies. I do not watch Woody Allen movies anymore. Do you know why? Because Harry Potter did not save your life. It was simply the series of young adult novels you chose to read. There are so many, and they're all the fucking same.
And here's the thing, guys, listen. If somebody came out tomorrow, the best example I have is Avatar The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
Avatar The Last Airbender means the fucking world to me. It's not without problems, but it is without really intense, blatant, stomping anti-Semitism and transphobia.
Yeah.
So if somebody came out and was like, hey, it actually turns out that both the writer and the content, because both, a lot of people are like, you have to separate the art from the artist. Okay, on its own, the art is racist. If somebody was like, actually, high key, the entire thing was fucked the whole time, I would be like, wow.
Well, I guess
That's a huge fucking bummer.
Right.
It sucks. And it would make me very sad. And I would move on and I would not spend money on things from it.
certainly not. And
No
here's
one's telling you can't go back and read your books that you've already bought.
go ahead.
Go ahead. They're bad
Go
books,
ahead.
but you're welcome to.
But when you read your books, we want you as Jewish people, we want you to think about those bank goblins. Think
Right.
about those bank goblins just a little bit, if you will.
Right. If you want to go back and watch the movies you have on DVD, fine. No one's coming in your house and fucking taking them. Just shut up about it.
But we will remind you that Cho Chang is not a name.
Correct. Nor is Kingsley Shacklebolt.
Nor is what was it? Somebody asked J.K. Rowling if there was anybody Jewish. Do you remember this? On Twitter, they were like, was there anybody Jewish in Harry Potter? And she was like, yeah, Aaron Greenblatt-Bergstein or something like that, where I was just like, how do you not know a Jewish person?
Yeah.
She was like, yes, his name was Harold Greenblatt-Berg Jewenstein, and he was in he was a Hufflepuff, which is the worst house on top of everything else.
Which,
He was a Hufflepuff because that's the That's the house of tummy problems.
I mean, Anthony, we'll be honest that we are the house of tummy problems.
Honestly, that if you would have consulted with us, Aaron Greenblatt-Bergstein would have been a Hufflepuff because of his tummy issues.
We are the house of tummy problems.
I've had 2 granola bars, and it's ruined now for the rest of the day.
But you don't get to say that.
No.
Anyways, that's besides the point. What I'm saying is,
somebody, Jelly PB is saying the only Irish character was a guy who made things explode. Like, come on, lady.
Yeah. So here's what I'm saying. A few things. One, I sent the screenshots of people being absolutely unhinged in my DMs to a friend of mine, and his reply was, why do you need approval for it? Why do you need everyone else to like it? Like,
right.
It's not just I need this game, which an unhinged argument to begin with, but and I need it to be a popular game.
Right.
And I need everyone to think it's a good game.
I need you, a person that I don't know, to tell me that I didn't make the wrong decision. And this is because these are people who have, whether they know it or not, probably have a lot of privilege in their lives and don't get called out on a lot of things. And so when they get called out, they go, I've never been disciplined in all my life.
Right.
I'm mommy's little good boy.
And like a stranger on the internet told you they don't like you for it. Well.
And not even I don't like you. It's, hey, if you do this, we're not friends. Once again, we were never friends. It doesn't change anything in your life.
So the reason I wanted to talk about it was, I swear I had a reason for bringing it up. It was a lot of people saying the separate the art from the artist argument. Okay, let's do it. Let's separate it out and let's just take Hogwarts Legacy for what it is. Hogwarts Legacy is the story of the Bank Goblin uprising and the alignment with the House Elves.
That's right.
This is enslaved people and
these are
Jewy bank goblins getting out of line for where they sit in the class system, and you got to stomp that back down.
You joined the wizard cops to quell the uprising of the marginalized.
Now, you might think that we're joking because we dislike this. That is the actual story of the game. It is about the uprising of the bank goblins and the house elves, I believe, in alignment.
Yep, in alignment. But of course, in alignment with the dark wizards, because only bad guys would allow them to rise up.
Correct. You're basically.
I'm sorry. What?
That's correct.
The entire subplot of the house elf in Harry Potter was, haha, we freed one house elf.
Right.
But now in this game, it's like, eat shit, house elves.
Yeah. Like, oh well, don't let that make you think that this is no.
Not only that,
it is fascist bullshit.
But also, if you want to separate the art from the artist, here's the thing: some artists won't allow you to. Mm-hmm. It's easier to separate the art from the artist when the artist shuts their mouths, keeps to themselves, does not put out their terrible opinions, and just goes, I'm releasing this thing, and I myself live in a gilded tower somewhere, and you don't know what I do. Unfortunately, this particular artist is making it, I don't even believe in separate the art from the artist, but if you do, how can you? How can you when she is this publicly vocal about exactly where her money goes to, what she does with it, when she tells people, how do you live with yourselves? And she says, my checks. Yeah. She's literally tweeted that before.
When she tweets, Merry Turf Miss. You know, like, here's the thing. A lot of people, I also got things that were just like, this is the rhetoric of the LGBTQ cult. So like, hey, if you want to play the game, these are the people you're aligning with. I got homophobic slurs in my DMs. I got people calling me horrific names. I got people popping off in these long fucking messages, but there were two sides of it. There were people who were coming in blatantly being like, I'm a fascist and I'm okay with this. And then there were people being like, no, I'm an ally, but I'm okay with it for this reason. So, hey, ally, what's up? You've aligned yourself with a fascist. How do you feel about it?
Once
Take
again,
a look in and wonder if this is the community that you really want to fight for.
And once again, all of your arguments, like if you want to rationalize this, just you're rationalizing it. Feel free to rationalize it. Humans are rationalization machines. Don't try to rationalize it to me. I don't want to hear it. If you're rationalizing it to where, well, I'm supporting the developers. And once again, we're going to tell you, do you buy every video game that comes out?
And also, those developers are not getting back end. They got paid to make the game.
Yeah. If you're thinking about, well, they get bonuses depending on performance. No. executive level, creative director level do. All the people that have had to crunch over this game, they got paid already, and they did not get paid enough.
Correct.
If you think, oh, well, she got paid her licensing fee and now it doesn't matter. False.
Right.
She gets money off of every copy sold.
Correct.
There is no way to separate her from this. We will also remind you that on this, the Hogwarts Legacy team, the creative director, who is the creative director for the majority of its development, was known to be an alt-right white supremacist.
Like, had a whole YouTube channel dedicated to spouting his anti-feminist alt-right views. And that's just facts. That channel, I believe, still exists.
Yep,
There were
because they removed him.
And dozens of videos.
They removed him, and he said, well, I'm not taking this down. This is what it is. And now that I'm free from EA, I'm free to tell even more truths.
Right.
This is, and here's the very final thing. It's probably just a mediocre fucking EA game.
Yep.
You're really going to go to the mats for another mediocre EA game that's going to disappear in 3 months when they've got to put out their next tentpole.
Yep.
That's wild to me.
See, Britt JK, I'm having this same experience in my DMs. Said, I've had so many friends and coworkers ask my opinion on the game as one of the only Jewish people they know. Someone that used to be a fan of the books. And I'm just like, Google it. I'm not your personal Jewish soapbox. So that was the thing. There were so many people in my fucking replies that were like, explain it to me. I don't understand. How is the game anti-Semitic?
Nope.
How is the game racist?
Nope.
How can a game have... The game doesn't have opinions.
We know what you're doing. We know what you're doing. If you want to go be a sea lion in somebody else's shit, we don't want to entertain your academic arguments or your explain it to me's. You know. Mm-hmm. You know already. And if you disagree, go ahead and have the fucking guts to say, I disagree. Don't go into somebody's fucking DMs and be like, well, could you just explain it to me? You know. You know you want to fight. And then you know you've prepared your little argument about why you're not a bad person for aligning yourself with the fascist belief system. What you really want to say is, I disagree. Will you still tell me I'm a good person? Right. If that's the DM, have the guts to fucking write that DM. So here's what I'd like to end this portion with. It's okay if you liked Harry Potter as a kid. Sure. And hey, as a Jew who was always impacted by this, I forgive you. You were 11. It's not your fault. It's okay. It's bad that an adult woman intentionally indoctrinated you into hateful view sets, into problematic stereotypes of almost every kind of people. It's not your fault. You were a child. And a lot of people, I think, aren't getting past the guilt they feel, so they have to be right now because then they would have to accept that they were wrong as a child. And hey, I'm a whole ass white person. I had plenty of things as a child that I consumed, that I was a part of, that were racist. Kids are wrong about most things. Right. Kids are dumb. We love children. They're wonderful, but they're children. You grow up and you learn. And that's okay. So if you loved the books, fine. If you loved the movies, fine. If you've gone to Wizarding World, fine. If you know now, okay? Because it's okay to grow and learn. I had somebody DM me because there was a photo of Hogwarts in the background of a photo from my 21st birthday. And that was over 2 years ago. Like, I wasn't dressed in Harry Potter clothes. It was just in the background, man. It's just there. I just happened to be at the theme park that has it. And people now, with pictures of my Super Nintendo World, be like, well, you're supporting the park that has... Shut up. Super weird how in the background of this photo of you in 2001, there's the World Trade Center. Sort of places you there, doesn't it? It's like, what? It's fucking wild. So here's the thing. If you didn't know until today, okay. All right. But if you know now, and with the information you have that everyone has worked so hard to give to you, that Jews have been yelling to you, that trans people have been yelling to you, that Asian people that are... For the longest time, I think the first people to be like, hey, that's not a fucking name. That's not a name. You can't just, that's literally a joke that horrible people make. I think that was probably the first, like, Harry Potter racism that I identified as a child that I learned, where I was like, hey, whoa, this might not be good. But, like, that the Asian community has been yelling at you, that the trans community's been yelling at you, that the Jewish community's been yelling at you, that the black community has been yelling at you. If now, after all of this information has been served to you on a little silver platter, you still continue to go,
I'm cool with it. Then I'm not going to tell you you're a good person and you don't get my little high five seal of approval. You don't get a little pass.
Nope.
You're not special. You don't get a special reason that it saved your life and now you have to buy the game.
I promise you, Harry Potter didn't save your life. I promise you. I 100% swear to you, Harry Potter did not save your life. You were gonna be okay. Harry Potter didn't do it for you. All
right.
Anyway, moving on.
Other stuff.
Hey, what about a good game where you can be a horrible child?
Oh?
Let me tell you about this game, Saige. This game is called Wood and Weather. And Wood and Weather is a little game where you have an adorable little Playmobil town and you are the god of it. And you can destroy it.
You get to wand it?
You can do whatever you want with this town. You control all of the physical systems. You see all those little Playmobil people going about their little lives?
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Playmobil people. So here's the deal.
Hey, what's that image? Scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, they're having a little cheeky fun with their coming soon.
Or sooner than you think.
Yeah, coming 2050 or sooner than you think. So what you can do is like, someone wants a coffee. So you can either get them a coffee. Or if it's too hot for coffee, you can turn on the rain. And then it will be cooler for them. And then they can have their coffee.
I want this game right now.
And after all, and then if they drink their coffee and they litter, fine, you can pick it up and you can put it in the bin for them. Or you can pick them up and put them in the bin.
Yes!
Do you want to take a look at a little bit of this?
Yes, I do! Oh my God, Anthony.
So yeah, here they are. They're just going about their adorable lives. And, yeah. That's that invisible hand they're always talking about.
Is this in VR? No. Now that it's walking, it feels like no.
Here we go. Elizabeth really wants a cup of coffee. Got it for you, Elizabeth. Don't worry, Elizabeth.
Oh,
We're here
welcome,
for you.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth, there you go. But it's too hot. I just really want coffee. Okay, Elizabeth, why don't you just fucking eat shit then? Why don't you just fucking why don't you just take my fucking favor to you?
You dropped your coffee, Elizabeth.
Hey, Elizabeth, you fucking jerk. Elizabeth. Oh, but that snail can do no wrong.
Oh, perfect snail. We can make snowballs.
Yep. You can add high pollen. You can just make their allergies go off. Kill them in a thunderstorm. Give them a heat wave.
Okay. To all my girlies who grew up taking the ladders out of pools in The Sims, this game is for you.
Yeah, this is Ladder Yanker, the game. But yeah, you have control over the town and all the physical systems. You can mess with the people. There you go. Sorry, everybody.
Oops. I want to play this game so fucking bad.
It's good, right?
Oh, it's going to be a problem.
It's good.
Wood and weather.
Because here's the thing. I've been the sort of person ever since the original SimCity, talking about all the early Molyneux stuff like Populous and all of those things where it's like, if I'm playing a building or God game and things start going wrong, well, then things are going wrong for the entire world. The moment I start losing, we all start losing together. I'm that kid.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, well, monster on you. Monster on you is what I say.
And yes, EQ called out because same. I'm right there with you. I too was a remove the ladder girly.
You have to remove the ladder. You
gotta put the little thing at the bottom of the pool. There was a design that you could put in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was really interesting and distracting. I have a game that I want to show you, Anthony.
Please do.
That I think you might enjoy. I can't. Please click the thing in there that says, I can't freaking wait for this weird ass game.
Clicked.
This is
While We Wait Here.
While We Wait Here is a management sim that takes place during the end of the world. It is a psychological horror restaurant management system.
Woof.
Oh my God. Tackling themes of time, the Armageddon, and the intricacies of human psychology. While We Wait Here promises to be as deep as it does captivating, as players must juggle between the mundanity of flipping burger patties and pouring soda to the frighteningly serious threat that lies outside the diner's doors.
Oh my God. It's just like real life. There's only 4 eggs.
Eggs are a little too expensive.
There's only 4 eggs. Oh, and then you turn it on and it's got like news reports about the end of the world and how things are going.
But you still have to manage your restaurant.
Sure, you still have to manage it.
And they gotta eat.
Let me tell you something. That's exactly the way capitalism's going to go. The sun is going to be about to crash into the earth, and it's going to be like, hey, this is your boss at Best Buy. Are you coming in today? Somebody's got to open the store.
If you're late, we are going to pay. I want to play this very badly. It is exactly my kind of shit. It is disturbing and concerning and everything I want in a game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very into this. I love a management sim in general. I love a town management sim. I love a business management sim. I'm a big fan. But the thing I love more is psychological horror.
There you go. Both of them together. I'm going to have to be in a particular mood to play that game, but I think when I'm in the mood to play it, I'm going to really love it.
I'm very excited. It is currently announced for 2024 without an exact date.
So you'll have that in 2024, and then in 2050, you'll play Wood and Weather.
Uh-huh.
And 2060, EA's Iron Man will be out.
In 2060?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good prescription.
Yeah, that's a good prescription.
I prescribe you one Iron Man.
I prescribe you an Iron Man.
In 2060.
You're iron deficient. Have a Tony Stark.
Alexander.
So, look, Marvel's Avengers is done. That Square Enix, the Square Enix contract is over. Marvel games are free. Mm-hmm. Not free. But Marvel games have been removed from the prison of Square Enix.
Avengers is free to play.
Avengers is free to play for the next 3 months. Marvel Snap is also free to play. I do like Marvel Snap. But EA's single-player Iron Man game is now in development. Hey, this is just what it should have been. Should just put out come on. I mean, we had the Sega games in 2006, those good 7th gen. They had that good 7th gen crust on them.
So we haven't really needed anything else.
We haven't really needed anything else in that good Sega Iron Man game. But, and then EA was working on Anthem, and it's just like, hey, just make an Iron Man game, a big budget Iron Man game. Make a big budget Thor game. Make a big budget whoever game. Just like Spider-Man. There's a reason Spider-Man did super well. This will be a single-player Iron Man game. They announced that it was in pre-production in September. It's being made by EA Motive.
Okay.
We love EA Motive. It's made in their Montreal office. Thank you. I'm having a lot of word troubles today.
We're all a little sleepy.
Yeah. So obviously EA Motive is the team that was behind the Dead Space remake that just came out that's getting really great reviews. They're currently, they just announced on their careers page that they're staffing up. They're looking for a development director, senior gameplay programmer, AI programmer, and audio programmer. So that means it just went into production. It's a third-person action adventure with an original narrative that taps into the rich history of Iron Man, channeling the complexity, charisma, and creative genius of Tony Stark, and enabling players to feel what it's like to truly... They literally just said, it really makes you feel like Iron Man. They Greg Millered it. But here's the thing. This is all we want. Mm-hmm. This is all we want. You don't need to tie it to the movies.
No.
You don't need to tie it to anything else. Just make it a good, big budget, single player Iron Man, kind of the same way they did with Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Just give me a good superhero game with good mechanics. It's fun to play.
I agree. I mean, Spider-Man, right?
Like, hey, Spider-Man, right?
Just do everything like Spider-Man.
Am I right? Why doesn't everybody do everything like Spider-Man?
Why isn't everybody doing everything like Spider-Man?
Why doesn't everybody take care of their old aunts like Spider-Man does?
I'll take care of Spider-Man's aunt.
Whoa. Row.
Hey, everybody's talking about the Iron Man VR.
Surprise, she was talking about Rosemary Harris.
Everybody's talking about the Iron Man VR game. Was it good?
It was pretty good.
Did you play it?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
You zoom around?
You zoom around.
Zippy?
You repulsor blast.
Sounds pretty fun.
It's fun. It's like a shooting gallery and then like a flight. It's fun.
I gotta get my VR helmet back out.
Get your VR helmet out. Really?
Wait a minute. When's
Really?
the last time you played a VR game?
Forever ago.
Right?
They've got that, the PSVR is like a week away, 2 weeks away.
You're not doing it.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm bummed that I can't sell my old one for like half the price anymore.
Hey, actually, we talked about Sims a moment ago. Somebody was like, do we know? I think it might have been Miss Reapers who was like, do we know when Sims 5? We don't know when Sims 5, but we do know a lovely update to The Sims 4 that's very, very exciting. And this came straight from The Sims, which was very surprising to me. I know there had been things that existed like this in mods previously. Will you pull it up?
Sure.
Which is The Sims 4 has now added top surgery scars, binders, various like gender affirming pieces for your character. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah, look at that.
That's a hell of a move from EA.
That's great. That's great.
There is not a game in the world doing this.
Hey, EA, more of this.
Right?
Less of the turf wizards.
It's very confusing because obviously there are very divided teams within a massive company.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there's a lot to be said about when a big company makes a decision, how much can we really praise what part of it is moral and what part of it is simply like financially clever. But we fucking love this update.
We love this. We've also got other things that like glucose monitors and hearing aids, which are great, which, you know, this is people's everyday life. You want to make Sims that reflect the people you know and the people you are. And it's wonderful that when they add more things like this.
Everyone who plays The Sims has sat down and tried to be like, how accurately can I make something look like me? And a lot of people have mods for those kind of things. But you shouldn't have to for base things that are people's everyday life.
Yeah.
So yeah, binders, shapewear, medical wearables. It's very exciting. Also, it was funny to me that a light switch is on that list in the update. They were just like, you know, medical wearables, binders, shapewear, a light switch, and more bug fixes.
Oh yeah, sorry, not EA, WB. Man, I am having word problems today.
That's right. So this is EA. That was not EA. But yes, this is free. This is part of the base game now. This is not something that you have to buy as an expansion. This is not like a money move. When I say earlier, like when we question within capitalism, when a big company makes a move, it's are more people going to buy the game? But a good move is a good move, and I'm very happy to just simply straightforwardly praise a good move.
Yep. We love this. Good work, Sims team.
Fucking cheers, man.
Unfortunately, now it's time for bad work.
Oh, no.
It's time for bad work. Bad work. We're going to talk about Activision.
Oh, no.
Oh, here's the thing about Activision. The Activision Blizzard Microsoft kerfuffle is still happening. And as we predicted, it might be the UK that saves us from this. The UK, like we keep saying, regardless of whatever else is going on in the UK, their regulatory commission has saved our necks a few times when it comes to tech.
Yes.
The UK regulators have taken a look at the Activision deal, and they've decided, like, hey, this is probably going to harm players. This is probably going to result in higher prices, fewer choices, and less innovation, which of course it will.
Knock it off.
So, and they also believe that Call of Duty and other franchises will be important to the growth of cloud streaming, and that Microsoft could remove competition by making these games exclusive to its cloud offering, which of course, that's the point.
But you know, Phil Spencer has been in every interview that we'll take him being like, I'm not going to do it. Guys, I promise. But here's the thing.
We'll even give it to PlayStation for free.
Here's the thing. Phil Spencer's promise doesn't mean anything to the lawyers.
Doesn't mean anything to the lawyers, and it doesn't mean anything in terms of actual business practices. Here's the thing.
I even believe it.
He's the head of a division which is publicly traded, has a board of directors, has shareholders which vote, and you just whatever, best intentions. But there's a reason why we have regulatory commissions, is because your best intentions do not mirror the law. And you cannot just be like, well, it was my best I took all those TVs with the best intentions.
Right.
I was giving them to my friends who didn't have TVs. Okay, you can't steal TVs, my guy.
Right.
Like, you just can't.
Look, I'm not going to say there's never a good time to steal or never a good reason to steal.
Me neither.
I talk about good reasons and good people.
Me neither. What I'm saying is the law doesn't care.
The law doesn't care.
The law doesn't care.
And also, I'm very comfortable being like, I believe him. He's going on a hell of a press tour to be like, I don't want to do that. But A, it's not going to fully come up to him. And B, it's also like, I don't think I'm like, yeah, I trust his intentions. He's worth $25 million, that man.
Right. So, when we've talked about all this before, but what's interesting is this regulatory reaction to it, which says like, hey, there are ways to make this deal work. Here's what they are. Number one, you sell off the part of the business that deals with Call of Duty separately. Ooh. Microsoft can buy Activision Blizzard, but can't have Call of Duty. You can sell off just the Activision segment separate from the Blizzard segment. So Microsoft could have Activision and Call of Duty, but then they wouldn't get Overwatch and World of Warcraft and all of that stuff. Or you can sell off both of those segments separately. So, and all of these are like, well, they're not perfect, but they're better. Yeah. They're better. And the regulator states that Microsoft has informed it of its commitments to keep Call of Duty on rival platforms and says it will consider this kind of remedy, but that it would prefer a structural solution that requires less ongoing enforcement. What they're saying is that we know what you're doing. What you're doing is you're going to say that you have the best intentions, and then you're going to do something like what Elon Musk does with Twitter and his companies, where it's like, well, now we're just going to give the finger to the regulatory commissions and pay the fines because we make more money than the fines.
Right.
And they build that into their business.
Crimes that only are punishable by fines are only actual crimes for the poor.
So Bobby Kotick, listen, for every Phil Spencer in this deal, there's a Bobby Kotick. Bobby Kotick went on TV and gave a totally chill and normal and very cool response to the UK Regulatory Commission as only a normal human being with feelings and emotions and a brain and heart that isn't a horrible money-sucking alien could make.
The worst part about him being just like a heartless, physically no organs alien is that he can't choke.
He can't. It's impossible for it to happen.
It's the worst part about Bobby.
So here's the thing. Bobby Kotick comes on to CNBC and he begins kind of normal. And he says, hey, whether it's the FTC or the CMA or the EU, the thing is they don't know our industry. I don't think they fully appreciate that it's a free-to-play business, that the Japanese and Chinese companies dominate the industry. You look at Sony and Nintendo, they have these huge libraries of intellectual property. Sony has Sony Studios that goes back 80 years. Nintendo has the best characters. He's really setting it up. This is a common thing that billionaires and business people do, where they set it up as an us versus them thing. It's the East versus the West, where China is coming in and destroying things. And it's true that China is coming in and buying up more and more of the industry.
But also it's incredibly racist to keep pushing.
Yes, it's an incredibly racist thing. And also this thing of like, oh, and it's a free-to-play industry. Activision Blizzard doesn't have a lot of free-to-play stuff. That's not what they make their money off of. I mean, they have King under them, which is mobile, and that has a lot of free-to-play things.
Sure, but like Call of Duty in general, the new Call of Duty games are not. They have one free-to-play. Overwatch isn't free-to-play.
No, these are not. He's just spouting terms.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as he gets there, he starts getting weirder and weirder with it. And he's like, listen, if you do this, The UK's ambitions of becoming Europe's own Silicon Valley will be toast. It says, if you think about post-Brexit UK, it's the first country where you're seeing a recession, real severe consequences of recession. If you're the UK and you have an incredibly educated workforce, you have technical talent, I would think that you would want to embrace a transaction like this where you're going to see job creation and opportunity. And it isn't really all whether it's Sony's or Microsoft's platform. It's really about the future of technology. And if you would like to see you become the Silicon Valley of Europe or the continent, if deals like this can't be through, you won't be Silicon Valley. You'll be Death Valley. There will be no jobs in the UK.
A couple of things. One, zoom in on that thumbnail. Zoom in on that fully fucking soulless eyes thumbnail.
This is, honestly, we were talking about that 7th generation crust. My guy looks like a PS3 game. He looks like an Xbox 360 cutscene. What is it? What are his eyes about?
Can we make 7th generation crust merch? Can we put that in the mod chat so I remember it for later? 7th generation crust on a t-shirt would wear. But a few things. One, oh my God, shut up. Two, Bobby Kotick seems to be unaware that the United States is in a recession.
Bobby Kotick is Lucille Bluth giving me $10 for a banana. Right. Confirmed. Like, confirmed.
How much could a banana cost?
But that's the thing is he knows that America's in a recession, but he's going on TV and trying to scare the UK. Even though it's American TV, even though it's CNBC, he knows
said they're going to be the first. They're the first ones heading into the recession.
I know. And that's because he knows that even though this is on an American cable news network, it's going to get clipped and put everywhere on the internet. And he's trying to scare the people of the UK, and he's trying to drum up support in the UK. That's all he's doing. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if he's ignoring what's happening in America right now. He only gets his money if this sale goes through.
He's a real freaky little guy.
He's a freaky little guy. He's a little goblin man.
Yeah. No, genuinely.
Like, genuinely? He's a little like Bobby Kotick, after he did this interview, separated his little head and body from the man suit that he wears and went skittering into his cave and then slept on his wealth. He can only sleep if it's on his hoard.
He definitely skitters. He does give the vibes of someone who skitters.
Oh, he'd do a little skitter. He'd do a little skitter sometime.
You just want to step on him.
Look.
Like, not in the fun way.
Here's the thing. Activision Blizzard, unfortunately, is going to have to run their own business, fix their own fucking problems, fix up their culture, and figure out how to make games that don't put them in the hole anymore.
Hear me out, Anthony.
Or they die, and that's fine.
Or they just go away.
Or they die, and that's fine, and somebody does wind up owning Call of Duty, but somebody else winds up owning Overwatch, and somebody else ends up owning, I don't know, whatever EA makes right now. What do they have? What do they even do anymore? FIFA?
Sims?
The Sims? Somebody will own The Sims. Somebody will own FIFA. They'll just go rummage. Well, everybody will just rummage through. And if people want to do it, they'll grab it. What do they got? Need for Speed? Cargo Zoom? Is that them?
Don't know.
Yeah, it's EA. It's Criterion. Cargo Zoom, right? That last Need for Speed did super well, right?
They have a Need for Speed?
Yeah, you remember when we showed the video of the Need for Speed? It had the cartoon effects. Yeah, that came out.
Yeah. Oh.
That came out. You could play it.
I mean, I was never going to.
You could play it. It's like, I don't know. They do have Respawn. And here's the thing about Respawn and Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. Somebody would buy Respawn, or Respawn would go independent. Mm-hmm. Respawn would buy themselves. And I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I think all that's fine. If a large corporation needs to go, if a shambling Goliath needs to return to the sea, I think that's fine. But what they can't do is stick to larger and larger Goliaths until there's one kaiju destroying us all.
No. Right? UK? Like, they can't, right? They can't, right? Anyways. Let's do a little bit of tech news, a couple of things. In pretty massive AI news, Google just announced Bard, a chatbot rival to ChatGPT.
That's right. Bard is based on, if you heard this story, which you did if you listened to We Have Concerns, maybe the best, most awesome, wonderful, award-winning science podcast in the world. We talked about this. Bard is part of the AI that a Google engineer fell in love with and said could not be turned off because it was a real person with feelings. Bard is a slightly less advanced version of that.
I don't like it now.
And they want to move it into finding search results for you, understanding more what people are saying. This is in response to Microsoft's big announcement this week, which is they are using ChatGPT for Bing searches.
For all of your Bing searches. It's very interesting because
Bing.
I used to be somebody that was really excited by AI.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
When it was really fucking cool?
Yeah.
Like early AI was one of the most fascinating things to me. I knew somebody who was like an early developer in AI that like when I was a kid, like had their own little like AI that they had developed and like it was very cool.
Things with like Murkov chains and like general conversational stuff like your smarter childs and your Elizas and things like that.
Cleverbot was my childhood AI, the AI of my internet childhood. So I used to be so excited by AI and I saw this and I know that I want to be, but man, the later in life understanding of capitalism makes it really hard to be excited about technology these days.
Yep.
Which I find very depressing. Like I used to be so fascinated and so interested and so actively educated as a child, like as a teenager. I was so into robotics. I was so into AI. And I had so much hope for it all. And it's very difficult as an adult aware of the implications of it when you see these things and know that they're owned by some of the largest corporations in the world. And like, you know, there also used to be all of these beliefs that like AI taking things out of human hands would help for equality.
And I
is trained by people with biases and AI and like,
but I still think
racist.
I still think on a long timeline, on the longer timeline, that is what happens. But what people don't talk about when they talk about that brighter future is the complexity and the crashing of the current systems and the destruction of the current systems that has to happen before we get to that good future, right? Like everybody talks about Star Trek future where it's like there's no money and we have replicators and nobody has to work if they don't want to. Yeah. And that's a cool future, but you have to like get through that early part of the future that they talk about on Next Generation where everybody's like killing each other for gas.
Right.
Like,
it's tough.
But this is a very weird thing. ChatGPT is very interesting. I think it's good at some stuff, but like, and I think using it a little bit to understand better what people are searching for makes a lot of sense. Natural language processing, that part of AI, where it's like, why doesn't, every once in a while, I'll still have a Google search where I'm like, it doesn't get what I'm saying.
Yes.
It doesn't get what I'm saying. And so it's falling back on like looking for individual terms or phrases and what I'm looking for, which is fine. That's the way it's always worked. But adding a little bit of ChatGPT or adding a little bit of language processing AI to it where it goes, oh, when I take this whole statement together, when I take this entire statement together, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Now, will Google also be using Bard? And will Microsoft also be using these AIs for other things? Yes, and that's not what's part of these PR announcements.
And that's the problem, is I want just the cool parts, and I understand that that's not realistic, but I'm telling you my unrealistic want. I want just the cool parts that move things forward, that make things interesting and convenient, that help people, but there isn't money in that, unfortunately. Yeah. So when a big company develops something like this, it is usually for the most profitable thing, which is war.
Yeah. Now, Chris Plowman is saying that Google Bard made a factual mistake in one of the first examples they shared. And that's true. It's one of those things where it's like, when you ask ChatGPT to write something for you, particularly something that isn't just like the easiest businessy thing, most businessy thing in the world, it doesn't do super well. It can go off into just nonsense and it doesn't understand what's going on. It's like, and that's okay because it doesn't need to do as much of that for a search. For a search, it just needs to understand that phrase and go, gotcha. Here's what I think.
Right.
It's not creating the content. So in that way, I think this is one of those things where it's like, there are big promises for this AI, and then it comes out and it's like, AI is going to replace artists. Okay, but there are a lot of fingies on that person.
Yeah.
Okay, Chat GPT, you won't have to write things anymore. Okay, but it's writing jibber jabber. Okay, well, you're right. Maybe it can't write. Maybe it can't draw yet, but we can use this to better recognize reverse image searches you're looking for.
Yeah.
We can use this to better recognize the phrases you're putting into a search engine.
It is very interesting because Blade of Creation asked, is there a distinction for you between written AI and AI art? Absolutely. 100% I believe that there is. And it depends because written is such a broad thing.
Right.
So AI art so far has almost exclusively been used in a way that harms artists. Written AI has a million different forms in that are not all harmful.
Yeah.
But
I think it can be, obviously it can be super harmful to content creators on the written side. We've heard about different journalistic outlets talking about integrating more Chat GPT and more AI into their stuff. So things like BuzzFeed is going to be using it for the creation of quizzes and things like that. The New York Times has talked about using it to create a lot of their puzzles, their crosswords and things like that. And that does replace a person. So written AI can be as destructive as art AI.
Absolutely can be. It's just a matter of the broadness of it versus the specificity of AI art.
Yeah, but if I something like Notion right now has AI in it, and I can type out three or four disparate ideas that I have, and it's I'm trying to schedule these things. Can you put them in order for me? And it does.
That's great.
And that's useful for me.
I think what's very interesting
because my brain is bad.
The approach to AI and the way that we've chosen to use it in the mainstream, which obviously again, when large things are developed that cost this much money, we have to factor that we know that hey, this is not actually for this. Developing something that does AI art realistically is a technology that was being tested for something else. But it is interesting that the first thing they're yeah, let's replace the jobs that people would love to have. So much of technology and so much of industrialization and all of the various progress throughout history has been about hey, how do we make people not have to do the most dangerous jobs in the world? But there became a point where that was no longer profitable because we got there. And now it's more profitable because we keep paying people less and less over time.
Sure.
So we're no longer trying to help people get out of the most dangerous jobs in the world, the most unsafe situations, or the most poor living conditions. We are instead focusing it on whatever the fuck secretly Google or whoever is doing. But when did that change? And that's very interesting.
Yeah. On the flip side of this, I want to end with this one thing, which is kind of the inverse of what we're talking about, which is Nintendo has responded to their falling profits with a 10% raise for their staff.
In Japan.
This is Nintendo of Japan. Nintendo of America has not made the same thing. But Nintendo of Japan said, hey, look, the world has been in a bad place. Our profits dropped off. What we can't lose now while the world was in a bad place is our talent and our creativity. We need to keep those people on, and we need to make sure they're okay. Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa told an earnings call, said during the earnings call on Tuesday that it's important for our long-term growth to secure our workforce.
Fuck yeah.
Supply issues and exchange rates have really affected Nintendo over the last couple years. Their stock price has fallen by 7.5% on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, and they said, look, if we reduce the number of employees for better short-term financial results, employee morale will decrease. I sincerely doubt employees who fear that they may be laid off will be able to develop software titles that can impress people around the world.
Can we be anywhere but here, Anthony?
You can't make a Kirby if you're sad. Have you played a Kirby? You can't. You know what you make if you're sad? You make a Shoot Man game. They're trying to sell those.
Hey,
nobody wants to own them anymore.
It's Ben Wyatt. Can a depressed person do this?
It's Cones and Dunshire.
Could a depressed person do this?
Look, I think this is a wonderful thing to say. I think this is an obvious thing that a lot of people aren't saying. Is well, yeah, profits are down. Everything's down. It was a shitty time for the world. Things are getting better. Let's not make any weird and destructive changes that are kind of knee-jerk.
Right?
Let's not make reactionary decisions right now. Let's keep going because we know that we make good stuff.
And Hector, if you're still here, we love you. Come see the new studio set up. This is just, it's on its way.
Also, Hector, Quantum Mania is very good.
That's all of our messages for Hector.
Those are our messages for Hector. And now that we've given our messages to Hector, we can close the show.
That's it.
We cannot end the show
each episode
with a message to Hector Navarro, as we always do.
Ooh, new studio. Yes, it is. It is on its way. There is still a ways to go for it.
We've already installed the paper that covers the cord. We've installed it. Try to hold my hand, I'll slug you.
Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for the first actual It's Too Early episode in the new studio. We are so glad that you are here. We are back, okay? Schedule, probably normal now. We do the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at exactly 8 a.m.
Name one thing we do that isn't normal.
You can't, oh my God, that was very loud.
Yeah, it's echoey in here. I did not expect.
Yeah, the soundproofing's not done yet, but that's besides the point. So
hello!
That means we will see you next on Friday at 8 a.m. I hope you will join us. Thank you so much to everybody.
Hello!
Thank you so much to everybody Thank you so much to everybody who supported us during the 13-hour stream that we did on Saturday. Saturday. It was very cool of you. We raised a lot of money for new equipment that we very much needed to make this place as special as it can be. We're working with what we've got. We're going to do a lot more behind the scenes stuff. We got to do like a little bit of a tour, but I'm hoping to film like an actual studio tour once it's more done. That'll definitely go up on our Patreon. Maybe on YouTube eventually. Check out patreon.com/PixelCircus if you haven't already to get your bonus clip from It's Too Early every week.
Yeah.
Check out our normal shows.
Every single ding dang week, and be sure to listen until the very end to hear our message to Hector every episode.
Every episode.
Saige, you've just been building the studio. That's what you've been up to.
I haven't streamed in weeks because I have been here. I've been doing manual labor. I should be back to streaming tonight. Actually, I'm gonna stream probably here from the studio because that's where all of my equipment is.
One computer
right now. For now.
We're thinking that very soon this could be a 2-computer operation.
Kind of wild. Anyways, I'll be back tonight at either 4 or 6. I'll let you know in the Discord. What about you, Anthony?
You can find me everywhere at Carboni, except for Twitch, which is Anthony Carboni. And if you did not watch the Marvel Studios Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania red carpet, go watch it on YouTube and tweet at Marvel and leave comments about how wonderful the hosts were, because Daddy likey worky.
Hate what you just said.